to you live from Gimbels in New York City. It's the 10 Point Podcast. My name is Bruce. Now, before we start the recording, let's recite the code of the podcast. Treat every day like
Christmas.
No,
Podcast
the pointies. The pointies.
I knew he was going to turn it into it, Christy.
There's
We'll go into
room
the
for
trash.
everyone
On the awards list.
in high points.
Ah.
And the best way to spread podcast cheer,
Is by downloading and listening and giving us a like.
not far off, liking and subscribing
There
on
we
all
go.
your
Ah.
favourite
What
apps.
a
There
treat.
we go. Chris remembered the third code of the podcast. With me
Second
this
one I
week,
struggled with.
reciting the codes. First, a cotton-headed ninny muggins, it's Chris.
I'll accept that one.
You will. And secondly,
What's the other
you
one?
all know it's coming, and we've all known for a long time. He's on the naughty list.
Aw.
It's Andy.
At least don't have a quiff like Chris's hair, though.
Is that rocking a comb over?
I know.
Rocking a comb.
He's looking like, you look like, I don't know, like one of them royal wankers.
I thought
There
you
we
might go
go,
full
that's better.
perm in tribute to Buddy the Elf, maybe. No.
It's
no
not long
perm
enough.
from it. We are the 10 Point Podcast. Hopefully you have already liked and subscribed and all that sort of stuff on all
Or
of your
they've given up
favourite.
listening already.
Yes, they've given up. Yes, 5-star reviews, comments, all that sort of stuff. YouTube, Facebook's up and running soon. Andy says refreshed, revamped. Twitter before it dies. We're still over there. All that sort of stuff. Search 10 Point Podcast on the internet. You will find us. 10pointpodcast.com is the hub for everything 10 Point Podcast related. You can find all of our previous 160 plus episodes that we have done.
So many.
I can say that with fact because this is the end of season 8. We've done bits and bobs in between, so we'll probably have done 200 episodes of 200 podcasts probably at this point now, which is a long time. Episode 200 will be next season, and
Ooh.
I've got plans in motion. I don't know if you guys do, but I've got an idea.
I've
of
got
what we
one
might
for
be able to do.
300.
For 300, right?
Oh, I get you.
I'm going to have to get in shape for that one, I think. But that is a long way away yet. Not even got 200, which will be in about a year's time. Will be episode 200. Next Christmas, we'll be celebrating episode 200, I would imagine. 10 Point Podcast. That is us. You all know it by now. It's the last episode of the season 8. But before we get on to point number 1, what was everyone's highlight of the week? This is what I did before we started recording. Chris, what's your highlight of the week?
I've been watching a TV series on Netflix called Obliterated. It was, what's the word? Put towards me by Jamie. It kind of flips it on its head a little bit. There's a lot of male nudity in it, and not a lot of female nudity.
Oh,
And
is this the Vegas one?
yes,
Aye. I've not watched it,
There-
I've heard of it.
I won't spoil a lot of it, but I will say there's a bone tomahawk moment that nearly made me sick. So brace yourselves.
Can you give us any sort of synopsis?
It's basically there's a nuclear bomb that
In
the-
Vegas.
basically the first
Damn,
episode that
yeah.
they
Oh,
find
right,
it,
okay.
but it turns out there's an actual that was a fake. There's another one they've got to find.
Right.
But they're all
And the whole
pissed.
series, yeah, they're off their faces on drugs and stuff. And there's I think it's the second episode. I nearly pissed myself laughing at one point. So
Right,
there's a
okay.
lot of funny bits in it, but there's also
A lot of naked-
Long
Yeah.
cock and balls.
yeah.
Fair enough.
But yeah,
I
I'll
just-
give it so far so good. It's yeah.
You have reminded me of something I watched and did not mention on the podcast. I thought one day Jade had no interest, and I was like, I'll tell you what, I'll watch the Scott Pilgrim anime on Netflix. It's the last thing I actually sat to watch on Netflix. And I was like, oh, I'll stick this on. I did not realise it's basically the story of the film. So the first episode is the first half hour-ish of the film, give or take. Yet they're taking out all the good songs, and they're taking out maybe some of the funnier bits and all that sort of stuff. So it's just a rubbish version of the film. So I just stopped after the first episode. So that's definitely a thumbs down. Is that a complete waste of time? I don't know why they bothered. It's purely just making content out of IP. I think the end of the episode there was a twist because something that didn't happen in the film happened at the end of the episode, and I'm like, oh, I can't be doing with this. Everything, like say it was 28 minutes long. 26 minutes of it was stuff that happened in the film, and there was like 2 other bits and pieces in that. It's all the same people playing the same characters, doing the same bits, but they're an anime. And I'm like, fine, I'll just watch. I'd rather watch the film, and the songs were much better in that. So a thumbs down for Scott Pilgrim. But I am now halfway through season 2 of The Boys on my rewatch of The Boys. We're getting through it. And season 2 has gone how I remember it. I remember thinking at season 2, I was like, I'm not liking this as much, season 2 as season 1. But I do remember ending every single season of The Boys thinking, how is that so good? Why is that one better than the first one? So I think the second half is going to really get me back in it again. But no, I will watch it all. But yeah,
Is season 2
Stormfront,
The
True
Whale?
Colors is good. The Whale has happened. And I think it was the episode after that where Stormfront has kind of revealed somewhat her true colors in that episode. Slight spoiler for The Boys if you've not got to the middle of season 2.
It's the first episode of season 3 is the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, speaking of what you were
we watched
obliterating
Gen Z.
and all that.
I
Yeah,
still
I'm
need to
getting
watch
there.
Oh,
I am
jeez.
getting there. So yeah, I've got season and a half of The Boys to go, then Generation Z, or whatever they want to call it. But The Boys, again, 2 thumbs up for me. Well, thumb and a half, because I'm enjoying season 2 as much, but I remember liking it in the end. Andy, what was your highlight of the week?
Well, I finished off Squid Games, so that was I really enjoyed that show.
I've forgotten to watch that. Like I loved it. I just stopped watching it.
Like I called it about halfway through the show. I called it absolutely,
Yeah, okay.
absolutely great show. However, that did lead me on to a new thing called the Octopus Games on YouTube.
Right. Okay.
Japanese Squid Games.
Right.
Oh my God.
Japanese. Okay.
Oh my God, it is hilarious. I sent Chris a mini reel of it, and I went down the rabbit hole big time. Because there's a great video where they do red light, green light, but they're basically walking along like Lego and stuff rather than sand,
Okay. Yeah.
barefoot with like kazoo, them party popper things that like you blow and they come out.
Right.
So they've got like 4 of them in their mouth at the same time, and when they're walking, they have to blow them, and when they stop, they've got to go in. But when they stop, there's people with big, massive cannons next to them. And if they go off, and it's just like a normal woman just turns around and sees them, and if they blast them with just big, massive air cannons and they go flying. But also when they're standing still, they've got like, they're barefoot, standing on Lego, and then it gets like sharper things. But then they've got these like things that whack their shins and stuff like that as well. The Japanese are mental.
It's like expert difficulty.
Yes.
The bit that he sent me is literally like they're blowing it, and then as soon as she turns, it goes,
yeah,
and they're like that for like ages.
Hold your breath.
But they're standing on Lego, and like I said, they whack them with stick, like just like everything moves as well. Like everything doesn't stop, so things can like just get you hit in the head. But if you go like and like make a noise, they blow out, and then she's like, "You're eliminated."
So that's what's eliminating them is the noise of the
It's the noise, but
thing,
even like you still got to be still as well. Like you can't just move around.
Oh,
it's
right. So you
it's
have to be still
both.
as well. All right.
But
Okay.
yeah,
Definitely expert.
But yeah,
expert
Octopus
difficulty.
Games, that's good. Other than that, I've been watching this incredible show called Dan Aykroyd Unbelievable. It's basically classic 90s unbelievable ghosts, fictions, crazy things that happen, but read by Dan Aykroyd.
Fair enough.
2 episodes in, it's some unbelievable shit.
Unbelievable stuff. Fair enough. Okay. Some good high points there. Right on with the podcast this week then with point number 1. What is the point? This very festive episode of the 10 Point Podcast. Point number 1 is the 2003 quirky fantasy holiday family romantic comedy adventure, Elf. IMDb coming good with the genres again. Written by David Berenbaum, famous for writing Elf, it was his first writing credit, then The Haunted Mansion, Zoom, and The Spiderwick Chronicles. Nothing too great following on from Elf necessarily by Mr. Berenbaum there. Directed by Jon Favreau, famous for writing and starring in Swingers and directing such things as Elf, Iron Man, and Chef, which he also pops up in. And then famous basically now for trying to salvage the Star Wars universe and The Mandalorian and things attached to that. That's who Jon Favreau is, the director of this. Mainly a director nowadays. He doesn't really act unless he's in his own thing popping up here and there.
Happy Hogan, that was his last one.
Brett Batch, yeah, he shows up in. At least he directed it. The first Iron Man, maybe the second one. Was it just the first one he did?
I think it was just the first one. And then he became in, what do you call him? Happy Hogan and throughout the multiverse, whatever it is.
Appears in Spider-Man and all that sort of stuff. But the main stars of this film, as Buddy the Elf, Will Ferrell. Famous for Elf, which comes before all of the other famous fours he had on his IMDb page. So literally everything that he is famous for, in inverted commas, came after this. And they are Anchorman, Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby, Blades of Glory, and Anchorman 2. They are apparently the 4 things that he is famous for, which is debatable, I think. I think Anchorman is definitely Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
But him making the exact same film from about 2001 to 2010 over and over again, but using different genres, not even different genres, just using different sports, I guess, is what you would call it, is what he's famous for. And then he was also one of the main stars, you could say, in the most successful film of all time in Barbie, whatever you want to call it, because he is basically head villain in Barbie.
Yep.
Spoiler if you've not seen Barbie yet, Chris. But
He's not the thingy head villain.
he kind of is. He kind of is. He's kind of not. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a turn happens in the film, but other than that, Will Ferrell's the head baddie, I would say. Which I forgot until I saw his IMDb page. Oh yeah, of course, he's one of the main people in Barbie.
And Lego.
Close. And the Lego movies as well, of course, yeah. Which that was one of his better random appearances, was showing up as that. Co-starring as Walter Hobbs, James Caan, who we have covered before on the podcast. His famous fours do not have Elf. They have The Godfather, Rollerball, Thief, and Misery, which is our previous James Caan big starring role. Chris shaking his head and a groan there at the memories of Misery. But yeah, James Caan, covered before, famous actor. I think we could call him a 10-point podcast favorite. I think James Caan. I think he's a 10-point podcast favorite. All right, we'll see. Maybe come back to that. But he is a co-star. More in depth on him in Misery and other episodes that he has popped up on, which will come on to on point 6. So the new people we've never covered before. Third on the cast list as Jovi, we have Zoe Deschanel, famous for Almost Famous, Elf, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, The Happening, Yes Man, 500 Days of Summer, New Girl, the television show, and Andy. Trolls. Is she famous for Trolls?
She's in it.
She's one of the main stars in the first one, and then credited in the rest, but not very high up the cast list for the other ones.
Because they kind of focused on just Anna Kendrick and JT.
Right, fair enough. Because I thought when I saw the Trolls movies and she was in them, I was like, right, he's my expert on the Trolls movies, so I'll come with him. But yeah, she's basically, I don't know, is she 500 Days of Summer and New Girl? Is that Zoe Deschanel, I guess? Bones' sister, I guess, is the other thing. But yeah, she very much peaked in the kind of 2008 to 12 sort of era of movies when she was her most famous. So she is the third one. And the fourth in the credits as Emily Hobbs, Mary Steenburgen. Famous for, this is a wide-ranging but not massively famous movies that she's in here. Time After Time, Parenthood, Back to the Future Part 3, What's Eating Gilbert Grape, Elf, Step Brothers, Las Vegas, and then she kind of pops up in kind of everything after Las Vegas. She's in a few episodes here and there of quite a lot of TV shows and a season
She's
here
a
and
lot
there.
of The Last Man on Earth.
Right, yes, that was one of the things that came up. Something else came up that was quite significant. She was in Grace and Frankie for a few episodes, and something else quite good that's now escapes my mind that I did not write down. She was in a couple of seasons of. But for me, she's always Back to the Future and Step Brothers. That's Mary Steenburgen, is those two roles for her. Basically playing the same character in Step Brothers as she does in this film, really, when you think about it. It's kind of the parent that's trying to deal with Will Ferrell being, I don't know, a madman. But they are our main four stars, according to the cast listing as it came up on screen at the beginning. We'll talk about others as we go through. Elf, on a budget of $33 million. For some reason, it's the US and Canada opening weekend I've got combined here. First weekend, $32 million. Final North American gross, $178 million. Final worldwide, $228 million. Don't know if that's just when it first came out or if that's every single re-release that's ever been, because it probably comes out every Christmas at the cinemas at this rate. Which makes you wonder why they never made an Elf 2.
Didn't want to do it.
I've heard about that.
Oh, right. Is it now a good time to discuss it?
Well, apparently he got offered, was it 29 million to do a sequel, and he just went, we're never going to recreate the magic of the first one. I don't want to do it. Which ultimately meant they couldn't do it.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that explains it, really. But you would have thought that
him and John Favreau didn't get on very well either.
Right, because that's this film really. When I look at the cast, it's a real merging together of Ferrell pals and Favreau. Like a lot of people are in a lot of John Favreau things, a lot of people are in a lot of Will Ferrell things, and they all came together for this. And then they kind of stay separate after. Like they have their own sort of people. It's kind of half and half. So that would maybe explain. Maybe there was a clashing of ideals. But yes, I can't believe maybe even 3 years later they didn't make another one. So maybe they did, like Chris says, they maybe fell out completely. Released 7th of November 2003 in North America. Just 3 weeks later, 28th November in the UK in 2003. Both out for Christmas, like a proper Christmas movie should. None of these daft weird release dates for Gremlins and Die Hard and all that sort of stuff, which are Christmas movies, but they bring them out in the summer. That meant 2004 awards season for Elf. Spoiler for what I'm about to say, it didn't win a single award of any sort of thing whatsoever. It won, you sold a lot of tickets and you got a good trailer. They're the only awards it won. So, major awards ceremonies, only one that gave it any nominations. It was one nomination at 2004 MTV Movie Awards. Will Ferrell nominated for Best Comedic Performance in 2004. He lost to Jack Black in School of Rock from the same year.
Oh, that's a tough one.
That's tight.
Mm.
Tight year.
And I found out through my research that Amy Sedaris was also in School of Rock. So she had, I don't know, two people running in that race there. Chris looks confused. She was the secretary of James Caan. I can't remember who she was in School of Rock, though. Probably a teacher or a parent, I would imagine, if we jump to that conclusion. Because she's not, wasn't Joan Cusack, because she was in it. But anyway, and that's it for the major awards. Not one other single important award ceremony I've recognised on the podcast. Like Elf, it won no other awards, like I said. Nominations for a couple for the movie, one for Best Comedy, one for Will Ferrell, and one for the music, but they were all losing nominations. Synopsis for Elf, brought to us by Ken. I don't know if it's Ken from the aforementioned Barbie movie or not, but Thesaurus Nick.
Looking at Chris is just making me sleepy.
Looking at Chris is making me sleepy. Nick and Claudio and the regulars, no synopsis for Elf. So Ken has said, Buddy was a baby in an orphanage who stowed away in Santa's sack and ended up at the North Pole. Later, as an adult who happened to be raised by elves, Santa allows him to go to New York City to find his birth father, Walter Hobbs. He, who was on Santa's naughty list for being a heartless jerk, had no idea that Buddy was even born. Buddy, meanwhile, experiences the delights of New York City and human culture as only an elf can. When Walter's relationship with him interferes with his job, he is forced to reevaluate his priorities. That's as far as Ken got.
Short and sweet.
I know,
Short and sweet.
Didn't even tell us the whole story.
Didn't tell us also. He didn't even say elf in there, I don't think. He said elves. So he said elves.
Story now.
Who picked? It was the pick of destiny because it is Christmas, and we picked the Christmas movie, and we kind of debated one of about 4 or 5, and Elf was the one that won out. I have seen this before, yes. I think probably 10 of the last 20 Christmases I have seen this film. How about you guys?
Same, Chantel's.
I don't think I've ever seen the start of it, actually.
Oh, God.
I often forget how he gets to the North Pole. Yeah, but you're right. And Andy, yeah, you said regularly because
Chantel's Christmas film.
This is our go-to. Right. Yeah. Which channel will we find Elf on? I found it on Sky Cinema this time.
I was going to say every channel.
Every channel. I think they've all taken a turn in the last 20.
That'll be on more than once in Christmas this year.
Yeah, I would say so. And there is only one version, so there is no different version, no extended version at all. It is only the one, so we all watch the same one.
Rare.
Point 2 on the podcast is the high points. The person who picked usually goes first, but I'm going to open up going first to the floor because I really don't have anything too early on as a high point. So if anyone's got an early one, we'll lead off with it.
Like the montage of Buddy being like just as a whole at the start. He sneaks away, then you see this like he's growing up, and it's like, all right, he's a normal human. All the elves, just like the whole set thing as well. Like he's huge, they're small. The whole bit's pretty good. Like it's done, and then you get the gut wrenching bit where like I'm up to where he's basically shit. He can't make like 900 sketches in an hour and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, everyone else is making 1,000, they did 85 or something like that.
But yeah, then it's the bad elves just basically have a go at him, and then that's when
I say the bad elves. The not really nice elves, I guess. Yes. The ones who feel a bit let down.
They even said it like fairly nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, as nice as possible. Yeah. How would they know that he'd be standing, like looking over the roof at them, or whatever it was he was doing? My only high point in the middle of all that is I really like the scene where he's testing the Jack-in-the-Boxes. And it cracks me up every time. I love it. And at the end, when it comes back at the end, I haven't got it as a high point, but when the Jack-in-the-Box hops out of the sack at the end when they're saving the day, it's perfect. Did you guys read the trivia note about the Jack-in-the-Boxes?
Yeah. John Favreau's off the camera waiting for it to pop up. Then he's pressing the button.
Right.
So it's random every time. That's why he's kind of like waiting for it to pop up.
Will Ferrell never knew when it was going to happen. Favreau was always in control, which made it even better. I love it. I think it's hilarious.
Which makes that last one even better because he thinks he's away from it, and it just pops up and he shits himself.
Yeah. Really good,
my kind of after that is the wee Arctic critters that he speaks to when he's running it. I thought they were really well put in. They weren't like You know, like that really horrible CGI where you've got this stop motion and you've got the fairly obvious he's just been placed next to them. I thought that
Yeah.
was really well done.
The special effects in this film are not great enough for me to really hit on. They're definitely not bad at all, but there are some scenes where somebody is playing an elf who's actually a normal sized human being in a scene with Will Ferrell or even Zoe Deschanel by the end, who's a normal sized human playing a normal sized human, and then there's animated birds and animals. Like it's all in the one scene. It's just put together really well. There's no lines, you can't see any edits. It just looks perfect.
I did like the line of the snowman though. It's like, you have to see your dad. I was just rolled.
I was rolled in the field and left one day. Yeah. The guy who played him, he was also, it was Leon the Snowman or something, wasn't it? The actor has the same name, Leon Redbone. Yeah, he's a musician by trade, and he only ever was in 2 other things. Like one of them was a concert. And it's like, I don't know why they picked him just to randomly be the snowman for that one scene, but his greatest cinematic achievement is being the snowman and elf. Other than that, he's a musician. It's a really strange
like, I'm
cast.
done.
Yeah. I'll just take the royalties from this for the rest of my life. Yeah, from one scene. My next high point is Buddy on the streets of New York when he first gets there.
That's got to be like the ultimate high point.
Yeah, I mean, like literally waving at the guy hailing a taxi is the next words in my notes. It cracks me up. It's just the way he pops in. He's just like friendly and waving at him. It's just sensational.
When he's walking along and he sees a guy in a red suit. He runs up. He's like Santa. Goes nope, and just runs away from him.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a plant. Was that a real person? I don't know.
I think a lot of the streets were improv.
Yeah, most of the scenes were just they just put them out and filmed them. So
yeah.
Apparently caused multiple traffic accidents as well.
Yeah.
Which makes the chewing gum scene. I don't know whether that's real or if that's.
Surely they planted that because the camera was up close for it, so surely they've just popped a bit of something on there.
I don't because I could see Will Ferrell doing that kind of thing, just going along as eating chewing gum off the street.
Committed to the bit, yeah. Him hopping across the zebra crossing to Pennies from Heaven is like one of my purest memories from this. And Pennies from Heaven, whenever I hear that song, takes me straight to hell. In fact, that type of music, I don't know what you call it, but kind of New York sort of big band upbeat music makes me think of Christmas because of Elf, I think. And it's the soundtrack to this really ties in. Him taking the flyers from the people repeatedly is hilarious. Well, thank you. Go back and the guy, oh, that's it, you've had enough out here. And then the slight running gag throughout of him and taxis. I enjoy that kind of him getting whacked by the
taxi every time. It cracks me up every time.
The only problem is you can tell that it's definitely a stuntman, so something's about to happen just before it gets hit. The shot's slightly too long, and then it comes back later on. It's like the yellow ones don't stop running across the road, which is a good bit. High points, anyone? Chris, how about you? You look, you're ready to go.
Eyes on Love when he's in Gimbels, the manager. He just plays it so straight and deadpan, and he cracks me up. Like him and Will Ferrell just like arguing with each other. It's like, Santa's coming to her. No, he's not. Yes, he is. No, he's not. Yes, he is. And
it's funny when that scene was going on, like the bit afterwards when like Will Ferrell decorates it all, and he comes back and he's like, "Oh, corporate's doing this and corporate's doing that." Chantel's like, "That's so you, because you're always paranoid about everything."
Yeah. What is this place? It's the North Pole. What is it?
Oh, that's
it. Yeah. That's good. And then I need time to make an announcement. Okay, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, Santa's going to be here. Santa! That's the way it is. Oh my God, I know him. And that's the meme, the clip, the merchandise from this film.
That was improv as well because there's people stand behind him, piss themselves laughing. And like Faisal kind of looks around and he's just like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
So you've referred to him by the actor's name. His role in the credits is Gimbels' manager. Like he doesn't have a character name, but the entire time he has got a name badge on that says Wanda on it. The entire time.
My facts.
Yeah, I spotted that. That wasn't trivia. That was me noticing because I was working. What's this guy's name? And why is he not in the film more often? I don't know if that'll come up later on as well. But yeah, he's only in about 2 scenes. But this film's full of people who maybe could have had more roles, more to do in their role.
See, I thought he was in it more because. I think I'm thinking of Always Sunny in Philadelphia because he's in that for an episode.
Right.
And he plays a deadpan as well, and they keep saying stuff, and he's like, Jesus Christ. I thought he did it to Buddy in this.
He's a very good angry straight man. You make all the jokes and be silly, and I'm just going to be mad at you and try and keep my shit together. We skipped over Buddy meeting Walter for the first time, which actually came before that, which is one of my high points, where he walks in and the secretary thinks he's the Christmas gram and all that sort of stuff. The way that James Caan's character guesses everything, like, oh, I guess you're from the North Pole, are you? Yes, I am. Oh, I bet Santa sent you. Yes, he did. It's really good. Like, all the sarcastic guessing. And then he gets the secretary over. Get him out of here quickly. And then Buddy just pops in. I like to whisper too. It's really, the delivery of that as well. And then they get rid of him. And he goes over to Gimbels because that's where they send him over to Gimbels. But yeah, I like him guessing everything that had happened. Andy, any more high points from you? I'm probably halfway through mine. I've got a bunch more.
I've got Buddy being creepy with Zoe Deschanel when she's in the shower.
That's a high point.
Yeah, it's just such an innocent scene. It's just like normally it would be the classic. He walks in and she's like naked, but no, he's just sitting there, just
Singing
enjoying her
along.
singing. It's like, it's a proper family thing.
Do you
Well, I've made
believe?
my feelings clear about random musical numbers in films, so
Yes, you
I'll just
have.
leave it
Yeah.
there.
I'll come back to the shower thing. I've got a question too about it, so we'll leave it as Andy's high point. With innocent Buddy just wanting to have a sing along. Buddy at the doctor's, that's my next high point. Him not sitting still is just, I don't know what is so funny about it. Him constantly, and then he asks, what's that skeleton over there? Oh, has he got a name? No, he doesn't have a name. Sneakily be able to turn sideways again while he's asking about the skeleton.
The jab as well. He's like, oh, no, it's just the wipe. He's like, oh, that's cold. And he's just like keeps pulling his finger away, and then he just jabs him.
Yeah. Is that son of a nutcracker? Is that when he shouts that?
Yeah.
Son of a nutcracker. That was nearly your introduction.
Oh no, that's a snowball in the face. He says, "Son of a nutcracker."
That son of a nutcracker.
Yeah.
He shouts something when he gets jabbed. Yeah. Him eating the cotton balls as well. I just keep thinking, like, how is he eating them? Like, the character, like, surely he's still a human being, so eating them can't be good for him. But also, I wonder what they are that Will Ferrell is eating them. Like, I'm intrigued. Right. Okay.
Definitely candy floss. It says.
I'm now tempted because there's a bag of them in the bathroom. I wonder.
It's like chewing tinfoil.
Very, very, yeah, exactly. Very, very minor, but I really like how nice and pleasant the little girl is in the waiting room afterwards. She's a really nice person, so I'm glad she got her present at the end. It was a really good performance in her 2 scenes by that little girl, and I thought she was really good. And I like that she was just a nice person. And it's always funny in these films, you always get the nice random kid who is just absolutely straight up with the crazy out of place character, and it's like children know like what's going on. They believe everybody that's crazy like that. But
right, I've got
my next high point.
I've got one that's not a creepy shower scene. This is my ultimate high point.
Right.
It's him in the mailroom drinking the syrup with the guy.
The syrup in his coffee. Yeah.
Absolutely. Just it cracks me up every single time. And it's just like they become friends. And then like 2 minutes later, Will Ferrell's doing the best dance moves I've ever seen in it ever.
Yeah, did a kind of weird sort of Russian dance. I forget what that's called, that one where your feet go out and you stay still. It's got a funny name for it. Yeah, I did like the mailroom comes up in my notes at some point. I can't locate it at the moment, but the mailroom scene is another one I kind of forget, like the beginning.
Yeah,
it's enjoyable and it's fun, and him dancing to the music. Very small one, but it's very much. We're back in the Will Ferrell realm of influencing my life when he completely downs the 2 liters, whatever it is, of Coke. And then like half a scene later, just lets out this really, really long burp, and then just goes, "Did you hear that?" And that's what I do whenever I burp very loudly. Is I ask if the person who definitely heard it did in fact hear it, and that's because of Will Ferrell. Again,
I wish that was real, that burp, because that is an absolute belt of a burp.
It's slightly too fake. The end of it makes it sound like a burp. Before that, it's just a noise. But him asking, "Did you hear that?" is the high point for me. It's very good.
I skipped over one of mine. It's the fight with the Santa. Sword of lies. You smell like beef and cheese.
Yeah, like beef and cheese. That's right. Yeah, that's a good one.
And it's when I'm gonna keep calling him Faison, but the Gimbels manager gets involved. He just rugby tackles a Santa. He's like, his employee who is nothing to do with the business whatsoever.
It's around that. It must have been after that incident they found that Buddy absolutely didn't work there, because he never goes back in again to work a shift. That's obviously why he's in prison. I'd assume that's why he's in prison rather than the fight, because he would just be a random member of the public pretending to work there who got into this situation. So that's probably why he got locked up. My next high point is one of my favorite points. I don't know if it's the highest point, but it's just Buddy in Walter's office and the phone rings and just answering, Buddy the Elf, what's your favourite colour?
Aye.
It's just a sensational way to answer somebody else's phone. It's just like, I just love that sort of stuff. Just cracks me up.
I'm gonna start
Which
doing
is,
that now if everybody calls me.
Or no, when a phone rings near you, just answer
Yeah,
it.
just run over
Andy,
and
what's your favourite colour?
Well, I might start doing that for like scam callers.
answer.
Yeah.
What's your favourite colour?
What's your favourite colour? Yeah. Yeah, that'd be
Doing
good.
that
That'd be great. I'm at Miles Finch now. I don't know if anyone's got anything before Miles Finch.
Oh yeah, I forgot to
This-
put a note of him.
This is a scene right here.
This is the point where all my high points is just something that Buddy said.
Yeah.
Something's got the building of the tension, and you're not supposed to be here, and then he thinks he's an elf, and then does Santa know you've left the workshop? And it's like the trigger point for the film. It's like, oh my god, it's totally believable he would say it, and then
Yeah.
follow it up with, he's an angry elf, and
Yeah.
then that's it.
Dropkick.
Dinklage is such an underrated actor, I think, because
Yes.
he plays that like everybody else around Buddy plays it straight,
But this is
and
the
he
thing
is
that
just
when Dinklage is not being so up himself and doesn't want to play like a small character, like he is generally playing a small character. There was the jokes. He's brilliant, and it seemed like Knights of Badassdom. You know, he won awards for this because he's
Yeah.
playing. But when like don't get me wrong, like every other role he's been in, like obviously Game of Thrones doesn't matter if he's a dwarf. There's a couple of times they mention it, but like when like he's in all this new stuff like X-Men and stuff like that, it's just like you're small. Stop trying to play a big character. It's just I don't know. Like he can, but I don't know what it is about Peter Dinklage. He just overplays it big time.
Yeah.
Whereas when he's being funny, Peter Dinklage is amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. What's he doing? Like, I feel like he's not in very much. Like,
Well,
has he just completely peaked with Game of
I
Thrones?
think it's probably because everybody moaned like I did. It's like when he was in X-Men, he was the president. That's fine. However,
Wasn't the
or
president.
whatever he
he
was,
was like the head of a company or something
he was
like
the head
that.
of
It was Trask, wasn't he, that invented the Sentinels?
Aye,
I think.
yeah, the Sentinels guy. But ultimately, I'm meant to believe that. Right, I'm sorry to put it this way.
Oh,
He is technically a mutant. He's got
He
a
is.
gene. He's got a gene defect. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm meant to believe that he made this to eradicate the mutants, but those Sentinels didn't turn on him. Take me out of the film a little bit. I'm just saying. Okay, because I'm sure the X-Men have some like tiny person like Ant-Man or whatever. And
I think
then
they do, yeah.
he goes and takes a role in like what you call it, Thor, and then
That's
he's
right.
playing a gigantic dwarf.
A gigantic dwarf, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's just like that's the wrong kind of funny. He's went too far the other way in it. But I don't know. I think he peaked to Game of Thrones. Like he played that character perfectly.
Maybe his performance in that Infinity War is what did his career in, because he overplayed it by like 400%. Like in that scene, it was pretty bad.
Come on, boy.
Yeah,
do it. Get the power of the sun.
Yeah, that's
he was definitely hammered, I reckon.
Maybe that's what it was. I've got kind of two minorish high points.
Dropkick, by the way, just by Peter Dinklage.
It was.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's quite best stunt, but with him twisting the Buddy stuntman's arm and it going flying off the table was good as well. But yeah, I've got two minor high points to come, both quite near the end. So if anyone's got anything they really want to hit on,
right at the very end for me.
Buddy being filmed like Bigfoot cracks me up.
Oh, yeah.
Walking in the woods, I like that. And then the Central Park Rangers presented like they're a cross between the four horsemen of the apocalypse and the Nazgul. One of the things sensational. Which again, that's another thing I never ever remember. I think I see the middle of this film all the time. I see from him being in the streets of New York, basically to the point where I guess the mailroom, maybe, I don't know. No, I see the Dinklage fight. I guess I see that. And I'm like, okay, that's the good bits over, and I stop watching. I think. Any other high points then? I'm cleared out.
No, I'm just them singing to get the Santa sleigh up.
You hate singing.
They hit you in the feels, these random musical numbers.
It's just a nice little feel-good thing. Got the
happy ending.
Yeah, I like a happy ending.
Good stuff. Point 3 then, for the low points, the worst bits and things about Elf from 2003. Chris looks primed to go. I'm happy to let him lead off.
The unnatural moments from Buddy. He's a human, yet he's got a cannon for an arm, and like you can make when he's making snowballs, all you hear is pa 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 pa. He's got like hundreds of them. He kind of just takes it out. He's still a human.
That's part of the elf magic he's learned.
But he could make 88 etch sketches during a shift at work. Like, he has got something
So how
going
long
for him.
his shifts are? It could be 24 hours.
That-
Which
Well,
again is still
presumably,
quite good.
I'm going to say presumably it is
I
at the
forgot
North
to add another
Pole.
high point, and I'm going to go retrospect high point here. The scene where he's sitting on the toilet in Elfland in the North Pole, and the subtlety of a plunger because his shits are so big, which is then retconned later on when he's got the big toilets. I'm just like, oh my god, it's genius! Like,
I hadn't thought of that. I just spent a whole scene looking at it thinking, that's a normal human being at the door, and he's a
Yeah.
normal human being on the toilet. How does he look so much bigger? Like, did they build two of every set? Is that how
Yeah.
this worked? And all that?
for
It's
me,
like,
it was
yeah,
the plunger, just like makes sense. But then when he's excited by the big toilets, so the big bowls.
popping his head over the cubicle. Yeah. Any other? It's
Low
I don't
points.
know. No, I meant moments,
Oh.
Chris. You mentioned the snowballs. Is there anything else?
Oh, fuck, I don't know now.
If it's mainly just the snowballs, that's fine. How
Right.
about
The him being accurate never bothered me. Like him like doing like the slow motion dive and cracking something in the face, that wasn't that bad. It was just the spinning the arm like a windmill.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to think of something else if you did.
For me, it's not a low point, but it just comes from my notes. It's him walking from the North Pole to New York.
Uh,
Well,
It's
because
like,
the North Pole's magical; it could just transport you.
yeah, but at some point he's not the North Pole anymore. And then, like, where is it? Is it Canada? I guess, 'cause he hops off that floating sort of iceberg that's about, I
Yeah.
don't know, a foot by a
I
foot at
did,
the
I
end.
don't like he got smaller by the time he got to
Yeah.
Canada or wherever it was.
Presumably. And so he's walked most of Canada, I would imagine. Overnight, maybe? I don't know,
Yeah.
it seems like it's one night. He fights a raccoon on the way. That was the only danger he met. But yeah, he's still a human being
Okay.
walking all that way. But yeah, that for me. So my first low point I wrote down though was, why is there a shower in Gimbels?
The Americans have employee showers and stuff like all the time.
Because I've worked in some small places and some big places. Now one of them was a hotel. Now it has showers and rooms, but there was never an employee one there. And I've worked in other places where we've had thousands of employees. There's no shower for staffs there either.
I reckon it's an American thing.
It must be. Because it even
Especially-
looks like, sorry,
I was going to say in New York, when people cycle there, they're all sweaty, they got to get out, and
fair point.
I reckon New
Surely
York's
it'd be busier
primed for
then,
this.
because it's much more cost
Yeah.
effective to shower there, like Jovi did. That's they shut her
Yeah.
water off.
That's what I would do.
But also, I felt like that it looks like it could have been a customer area because it's like fully kind of prepped Christmas trees and the
There was
corridor
actually,
leads
yeah.
along. And I'm like, is this a customer toilet? And it cuts back and there's lockers there because Buddy runs into them. So it is the staff. And so I was like, do they have showers and toilets just randomly in department stores in America? So that it annoyed me. But Buddy was like, oh yeah, I heard you singing. I came in to join. I didn't know you weren't wearing any clothes in there. Now, this is where I don't trust Buddy, because we've seen him having a shower in Lapland at the North Pole naked, so he knows how people shower. So I think he's at it here. I think Buddy knew what was going on, and that's when I was first concerned about Buddy and some of his actions. Any other low points? I do have a few.
Yeah.
Mine is the Central Park Rangers. I didn't think they
Fucking
were
hell,
needed
that's a jump.
at all. There's not really a lot of low points to the film.
You need an urgency
Yeah.
to get Santa going in, and it can't just be, oh, everyone's going to come and see Santa, because the whole
Yeah.
point is everyone's supposed to believe in Santa. So somebody needs to have cordoned off the area so that people had to believe, but also it meant that Santa had to get going again in a hurry. So I think as a shoehorned in out of nowhere, quite funnily delivered with a one-note gag, I thought they were quite good baddies, I thought. Because otherwise, yeah, you'd have to write another bit to the film,
Yeah.
another reason. Which there are bits where I'm like, that could be shaping up. And like, one of the main questions I've got in the entire film, how old is everybody supposed to be in this film?
Exactly. It's all over the shop.
Age of
James
any
Caan-
character.
James
Yeah.
Caan seems way too old. It's like, well, he seems about the right age to have Buddy, which makes sense. But then he's got that other kid that is like, I don't know, 12 or 13 or something. I don't know if they actually says his age.
Yeah, I don't think he says his age, but he's tiny. The other
Yes.
brother.
Buddy's at least 30 something.
Yes.
Because I remember it says it's been 30 years, so
Yeah.
that makes James Caan at least 30.
Well, James Caan, no offense to Mr. Caan, he's a handsome chap, but in that photograph from way back in the day with Buddy's mum,
Yeah.
he doesn't look like he's a teenager by
No.
any stretch. So he's probably his early 20s then. So I think James Caan's in his 50s, maybe. I mean, I could actually have a look and see, when did the film come out? 2003.
Yeah.
So James Caan was born in 1940. So he's 60-ish when this film's getting made, James Caan.
Yeah.
And then he had a son in that film. that
How
was
old
Daniel
would he be like
Tay.
13?
13.
He was born
50-year-old, and he's
1991 was Buddy's wee half brother. So
right.
he'd be 12, like you say. So yeah.
Yeah, he's like 50-year-old when he's had a 12-year-old.
And then the fantastic Mary Steenburgen, who doesn't look the age she is, she's in this. She was born in 53. So she's 50 when this film's out. So she somehow had the kid when she was what, in her 40s, maybe,
Aye.
something like that. So yes. And then Zoe plays like she's about 12
Yep.
in this film.
But she
Like,
always looks
she's
about
not,
12.
she doesn't have a grown-up character basically. So yeah, it annoyed me.
Oh.
The main one was, how are these two half brothers with the same dad here? It's like it really it annoys me.
Zoe looks weird without her characteristic black hair and
That's
bangs.
that definitely. I was like, I don't know if I've got it in one of my nominees later on.
I think I've got it.
This is the blonde Zoe Deschanel role. Apparently, she was in 8 things with blonde hair. And out of all the rest, basically something like an episode of Frasier is the second best thing that she was blonde in. But yeah,
Yeah, she's in that.
because apparently, upon Googling this, she's recently wowed people on social media with her new blonde hair look that was this summer, just past. Apparently, it's a wig for something she's going to be in. So she's not actually, but this is actually her hair when she's an elf. But yeah, this role for her stands alone because she looks so different to everything else she's ever in. Because she's not a blonde in anything else at all. But that does come up again in my notes somewhere. On the subject of Jovi, what possible reason would she have to associate with Buddy beyond them working together? She's had a maximum of 4 conversations with him, including one where he followed her into the shower. Yet the first
Maybe
suggestion of, do you want to go get food? She's like, absolutely, I would like to.
I mean, it's a ballsy move. I reckon if somebody followed me in the shower, I'd be like, all right, here you go. Like, it's a power move, I reckon Buddy was on, and it worked.
It's concerning.
If you like this can-do attitude of,
Yep.
I'm just going to stalk you.
Yeah.
I guess so, because it's concerning. It's not a secret or even hidden that Will Ferrell plays this role like he is playing a child.
Yep.
Like he acts and asks questions, and Jovi somehow is attracted to this, despite the fact that that's basically what he does in the shop as well. And it's concerning for the character of Jovi, I think, that she is drawn
She
to
might be
that.
getting nominated later then.
She might be. She might be. I've got 2 more that are both quite late-ish.
Mine's is just ultimately, like I said, James Caan. Like,
Yes.
like, I don't know. He's neither good nor bad, but we're meant to believe that he's on the naughty list. But he's not actually that naughty. Like, he's all over the shop. He's half naughty. He's okay. He's playing the middle ground. I don't understand his character. I just need a big bad.
Do you know why he's naughty, I think? Why he's naughty is that he seems to have totally abandoned his 12-year-old son.
Yep.
And even given a damn at his job.
Yep.
And he seems to have abandoned his son for this job that he doesn't even care anymore.
Yep.
And what he's put his life into giving up his family for is basically approving what children's books to put out.
Yeah, which makes
I've got a question about that book. Did he send it out without the last page, or was it the printer's issue? Because I'm so confused because they asked him about what happened.
Yeah, because he basically
he said, "It doesn't matter. Don't put anything."
He signed off on it. He clearly just didn't care and just signed, that page is fine, that page is fine, that page is fine. Sent it off, came back from the printer with the guy. There's 2 pages missing. And he's like, will they notice? Which is terrible. Well, of course.
Right,
it's like he has ruined his family at home for this really weird, not really all important job. Like, it's not like he's a big banking guy. He's not making thousands of millions of dollars. Like the issue he has is like 30 grand's worth of printing or something like that. So it's not even, they're in the Empire State Building, but it's not like a massive business he's got. And yeah, it's like, nobody will notice. It's like, this is your product.
Well, like, maybe he's fed up after he got hobbled, or like, he got his smashed. And when he was trying to write the book in the first place, he's like, oh fuck.
That's right. Is this a follow-up to Misery?
Yeah, this is the sequel.
A sequel to Misery. I had not got that movie connection going. So one of my last 2 low points was something I never think about in this film before. Was Buddy going to kill himself when he was on the bridge before he saw Santa? Because he walks onto this.
He was just
sad
contemplating life.
because he's like, he walks there, he looks down into the water, and it doesn't take his eyes off the water, and he goes, "I don't belong anywhere."
Maybe he's just
Yeah.
waiting
And
for
there's like
Narwhal to come back.
there's a beat or two, and I'm like, does he get on the edge here? I don't remember. Does he climb over and then Santa appears and then he runs after him. It's like I don't remember this.
How fast can he run, by the way? Because he managed to get from that bridge to that park in seconds.
Well, you saw how quickly he can make snowballs and how quickly he got from North Pole to New York. So very would be the answer. I've got one final spoiler. I did say spoiler, which is why I said it. One final low point. Any more from you guys?
Nah, man.
So, spoiler alert for Christmas. Anyone who's listening, who might not want to hear any spoilers about the Christmas season. In a world where Santa really exists, the elf is set in. Santa's there. We've seen it. And where he really makes presents and really puts them under people's trees, there would be sufficient belief and therefore unlimited Christmas spirit, negating the whole point of the Santa storyline in this film. Because the parents would not make
every one of these films, because it's ultimately you're getting the same low point as me. It's like this ending has been done about 30,000 times in these Christmas films.
Yeah.
Whether it be this, whether it be Santa Claus, whether it be Miracle on 13th Street or whatever it's called, they're all ultimately the same. And it's like Santa is real. Santa delivers presents under people's houses, so great for the parents. They don't have to spend all the money. But yeah, for some reason,
why does nobody believe in it?
Yeah,
It's like,
yep.
Well,
Like,
that brings me to the Santa's list. When Michael's talking to the Charlotte, the newscaster, or the presenter, and he comes to her and says, "You're on the good list, and you want your boyfriend to propose and to stop dragging his heels." How is Santa going to give that gift?
well, it was a ring. She wanted the ring, but you're right. The emotional half of it, like what relevance does that have to Santa?
Like looking at it going, I never know that. Where the fuck's this coming from? What am I going to do with this?
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, it's the whole Christmas spirit thing only works in a world where you have to believe in Santa because there isn't one. But in this one, yeah, everybody in the world would have grown up getting presents made for them by Santa and the elves, so therefore they would all believe in Santa. So it's and they did throw away. Oh, they think the parents do it, is what they think. Nah, because the same parents would have been kids who did
reality.
yeah, exactly. So it doesn't make sense to end of it.
I'm
Is that us? Is that it for low points?
I think so.
Point 4, the stats. It's a barren landscape, is the stats in this episode here. Zeros for everything. Like, no shits, no F-bombs, no explosions, no deaths, no cows, no goats, no dead animals. Pedophile?
Well, maybe
Jovi
now.
might be that way inclined, maybe. I don't know, unfortunately. There's no motorbikes in the film that any characters ride that we're aware of, so the trifectas are a goner as well. Did they say the thing, however? Did they say elf?
Yes.
Loads of times. Every time I said Buddy the Elf.
It took 43 seconds for someone to say elf. It might be the quickest thing of the thing. I counted 21. Forgive me for missing because they say elf quite a lot, and it slips in quite a lot because I would say the first half of the film I've nailed it. Second half of the film, maybe not so much. I got a bit into it then, so I missed them. But at least 20 elf. That's just the word elf. There's going to be a lot of elves, and there's a lot of elves. Just elf. Chris, any stats from you?
Yeah, the park went on for 12 seconds, but it was actually done by Maurice LaMarche, who has been in stuff before, but I couldn't tell you.
You're right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I could maybe try and find.
My universe is all over about this week, so I don't know what else to count because I wasn't going to count elves because there's absolutely I thought there was going to be loads of them, and the same with trees. I wasn't going to count Christmas trees.
I guess
so
you could
count.
Why trees? What made you think trees?
Christmas trees.
Ah, right. Okay. Just because it's Christmas.
Just because of Christmas.
I mean, there's only one Santa.
I can't find anything Maurice LaMarche has been in that we've done, but he's very much cartoons, so maybe it might have been something daft like
I think there's Pinky in the Brain.
There you go. Maybe it's that then. But nothing's jumping out at me. He's done Looney Tunes stuff before, so maybe it's that. In fact, it's millions of animated stuff, so I would say if it's an animated thing, he might do one of the main Looney Tunes. That might be how we've covered it. But anyway, yes, he did the burp, like Chris said. And did you have a fun fact for us?
Pretty much we covered most of them. The cotton candy was my main one.
Right, okay.
It was the candy floss.
That was a genuine question. I didn't know that.
The cotton balls were just cotton candy because if you ate cotton balls, you would die.
I don't have a fun trivia fact to come
Oh.
to you this week. Nothing came up.
All the food that he eats, he actually eats that. Like, so the syrup and the pasta and the sweet stuff, he actually eats all that.
You can kind of
Yes.
tell when he's mixing up the plate with all the
Yeah.
marshmallows and that, and then he just goes for it. You kind of tell. It's like,
I just
I'll
hurts
do
my
one
teeth
take
just
and
thinking
one
about
take
it.
only, and someone else is cleaning this up.
Yep.
Like, right, that's us on point 5 already. A bit of a lot of high points. The 10-point podcast quiz. Andy is the quiz master. Take us through the final quiz of the year. Before we go on to the quiz, actually, Chris, do you feel like you're winning the quiz this season? Because I feel like
No,
I'm
I don't.
losing the quiz. I think I'm losing the quiz this year, but
I must be
we'll see.
wrong because I don't think I'm winning it.
I've not kept score beyond each episode on its own. I don't know the overall score and told you the point is. But Andy, carry on.
Right. Well, we've done this quiz format once before when we did Santa's
Fuck,
Sleigh.
here it goes.
So it's the naughty or nice list.
Right, okay.
You've just got to tell me if they're naughty or nice, and give me a reason why they're naughty or nice. I might give you a bonus point.
Right, okay.
So who wants to go first?
Too.
What?
I thought it was going to be as well, but then we said
Yeah.
the Christmas one. I knew
What did you say it was going to be?
I thought you were going to be Dinkier than Dinklage too.
I thought you were going for that as well. I think it's my turn to go first. I could be wrong. But I think it's me
You
first.
can go first. So I'm just going to give you a name. You're going to have to really work out if they're naughty or nice, and it might be a hard name, it might be an easy name. You just have to work it out. Right, your first name, Bruce. On the nice or the naughty or the nice list?
Not real nice.
Bodie.
Bodie? No. That's not easy. So
Really?
Bodie is Patrick Swayze in Point Break, his Bodie. He was a bank robber, and they didn't kill people, but he did kill people. So I'm going to say he's a baddie, somehow presented as a good guy in the film. So I think he's on the naughty list, and for being a bank robber and probably being involved in at least one murder.
You're bang on. I had Bodie. Yeah. He was on the naughty list because he was a bank robber and he was played by Patrick Swayze. He got everything, so 2 points.
Thank you.
Chris. Lena Huxley.
She's on the nice list because she's a good cop and she helps the people that are underground who were getting.
Yes, she's nice. She's a police officer. Police officers tend to be nice unless you're in America currently.
That's Sandra Bullock in Demolition Man.
It's Sandra Bullock in Demolition Man. So Chris gets 2 points as well. We're off to a flyer.
Sweet.
Right. John Connor.
He's absolutely on the nice list. Definitely John Connor's on the nice list. You are not going to like Edward Furlong, but John Connor, he's the heart of the second Terminator film. He stops the Terminator doing bad things. He stops Sarah Connor doing bad things, and he leads the human being to their, I don't know, persistence and resistance to staying alive. So I think John Connor's on the nice list, I think.
He's naughty because ultimately the first thing we see him do is commit fraud and bank robbery.
I thought it would be like because he's voicing Boydbury, that's why.
No, he's just he's a fraudster. He clones credit cards and takes money at card machines. So doesn't matter how good he can be, he's on Santa's naughty list.
Nah.
Right. Chris. Cyrus.
Oh, he's definitely on the bad list because he tricked his nephew into taking his family into a house which was filled with murderous ghosts.
You've got it. He fucked his family over and he trapped some ghosts. That's the
I was like, we've not done Con Air. Why is he done?
I know, that's what I was like, what the fuck are you?
Bruce.
So 2 points. 2 points to Chris.
He nailed that as well. Great. Bruce. Mike Lowry.
Mike Lowry. So this is tough because he's a good man, but he's a bad boy. So that's straight away. Now, someone earlier, because they were a police officer, they were on the nice list. So I'm going to go Mike Lowry is on the nice list because also he's a policeman.
Exactly that. Yeah, 2 points.
And he's not a dirty cop. He's a normal good guy cop.
Exactly.
Should be.
Right. Chris. Castor Troy.
He is on the bad list. Oh, fuck, this is confusing. Yeah, because obviously he was a bad guy. He killed a lot of people. He had a bomb in LA. And then he switched bodies and was still a bad guy and technically raped somebody.
2 points. He nailed it. He is a bad guy.
Can I just point out that Chris keeps saying the bad list? It's the naughty list.
It's
So
the naughty
technically, he's
list.
not actually getting it right. So,
Same thing.
Aye,
It's a
aye.
synonym.
I mean, I gave a correct answer and I got it wrong,
Yeah.
apparently. So,
You didn't. He was a fraudster.
I didn't know Andy sided with the machines in the army. I guess it's one way of surviving.
Bruce. Eddie Valiant.
Eddie Valiant. Tell you what, that name
Ah.
doesn't jump out at me as someone that would.
Okay.
Now, Valiant is a good guy name. Who the hell is Eddie Valiant? I was going to say on the nice list because he saved the world.
You'll get 1 point for it.
Right.
Eddie Valiant is Bob Hoskins. He's the detective.
That's right. Yeah, he saved Toontown, or what it was, I
He
guess.
saved
He saved
Toontown.
Roger
If
Rabbit.
he said Toons, he would have got his points,
Yeah.
but he said World, so no.
Eddie Valiant. Who Framed Roger? Was that this season? Who Framed Roger Rabbit? No, that was last season, I think.
Yeah,
What?
that's the thing. Can't remember.
That was supposed
Right. Chris. Billy Loomis.
Oh, he's a bad guy because he murdered people.
Straight up 2 points. Bruce. Jeffy Dahmer.
Jeffrey Dahmer. Oh, I've got the Chris questions here. I should have gone second. He is on the naughty list because he tried to steal the Special Olympics.
Yep. Bang
Yeah.
on. Chris. Sonia Blade.
Also, he's not a real person. Sorry. Like Sonia Blade was that?
Sonia
Yeah.
I'm
Blade.
going to say, again, she's on the good list, the nice list, because she's a cop who is mixed into a combat thing in honor of her partner who
Yep,
Yeah.
lost
I'll
his
give you it.
arms.
You've got it. 2
Yeah.
points. Couple more. Bruce. Annie Wilkes. Wilkes.
Oh, naughty list for hobbling Walter Hobbs before he
Yep.
could get back to New York to publish his books.
Do we need a tiebreaker? I think Chris has run away
Uh,
from anyway, isn't he?
Chris is in the lead by 1. So technically, if Chris was to get
Oh.
it wrong,
Oh, you could get a steal. Okay,
I
we'll
could
do it.
tie. Obviously, naughty and nice.
Steal last time.
I know.
Dennis
Keep it
Nerdy.
alive.
Chris.
Oh, he's in the naughty list because he stole things from Jurassic Park
He got
and then
it.
they got lost.
He
to-
got
I
it.
think Chris got full marks. I think.
I think he knows his people.
I got
knows
one
his-
wrong,
Yep.
and then I couldn't remember who Eddie Valiant was. But
I was
other than
waiting for it to get passed over because I had that down. Eddie Valiant.
right, okay.
No passes. But I think Chris knows he's not your list, so Chris could be Santa.
Chris, yeah, Chris could.
He calls it the bad list.
You've
Though. He's
never
like, no,
seen
not your
us
nice.
in the same room twice together, so it could be possible.
Yeah.
And I look really stoned there for some
You
reason.
really are. I think
And
you haven't
pale.
what Edward Furlong's we haven't.
He's got my lighting from last week as well, I think. Point 6
I do.
on the podcast, movies within movies. Chris, can you give us your
Well,
list?
I'm all over the bit here because my plan was again just to do this season, and then I just thought I couldn't be bothered, so I just rattled through a bunch of
I've
food here.
I've
so
done what I wanted with it this time, so we'll see what we do and don't cover.
I'll just rattle through them because there's a guy called Spencer Caden a lady called Spencer Caden who was a perfume shopper in this, was in Shanghai Noon as a drunk woman in a tank. Craig Castaldo, who was a radio man, was in Godzilla as a radio man. Artie Lange, who was Gimbels Santa, was in Old School as Booker. Anne Brebner, who was an elf student, I think it was the blue one behind Bruce actually, is in Just Friends as Sarah. Matt Walsh, who was the news eyewitness, is in Office Christmas Party as Ezra, Semi-Pro as Father Pat, Old School as Walsh as well.
He plays
Uh,
himself in this film,
yeah.
Matt Walsh.
I didn't get that because
Yeah,
his name's
it must just be-
mentioned, so.
Like, because he's just in interviews on the news, just what have you seen in the park? So, but allegedly he's playing himself. So he is
Yeah.
the actor Matt Walsh, who saw what he saw in the park. Hall of Fame eligible for Matt Walsh.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think Father, whatever you call him from Semi-Pro, is his most prominent role we've covered. I think.
Hangover is what I remember him from mostly.
Yeah,
John, I put Favre sucks, so I've misspelled his name.
Father sucks. Oh God.
Was a doctor. He was in Chef as Carol. Is that all we've done with him?
I think that's it. That's all I
Right.
could find. I think he's only been not even Hall of Fame eligible is John Favreau.
Kyle Gass is Eugene. Pick a Destiny is Kyle Gass. Well, KG. Evolution
himself.
is Officer Drake, and the Cable Guy is Couch Potato. So he's eligible. He's been eligible for a while.
There you go.
He's missed one, Andy, hasn't he? He's
Is he?
missed one. What was KG's first appearance on the podcast?
The Burbs.
No, it's that's the go-to, but it's the one after that is the other one. He ran the burger place in Idle Hands.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
He's in Idle
That's
Hands as
another
well.
Yeah.
And KG,
So
well and
good.
truly Hall of Fame
Yes.
eligible. And
Yeah.
I would propose as much as to say KG, he will not have a bigger role in anything else. Like literally, he's Tenacious D, therefore he's in Tenacious D movie. And I remember him from this film, and I'm not sure what else he's in, really. Like, so
Well,
I think
I was off thinking I was going to suggest we put Tenacious D in because they're both been in it eligible and
Mhm. It's the Pick a Destiny.
okay.
I
Right,
had the same. I had the same
Yeah.
feeling, Chris. I think that might appear when we get to the point. That could be a good option. Very
Sweet.
good.
I think my brain works for a change.
Yeah.
Andy Richter was Morris. He is eligible, by the way, now. He was in 80
Mhm.
for Brady as Clark and was also in semi-pro as Bobby D.
So he's one of the ones that's from the Ferrell clan, I would say. That are all his films. Like,
Michael Lerner, who was Fulton. He was the bad boss. He was in
Walter's boss.
Godzilla as Mayor Ebert.
He was the mayor. I was like, where do I know him from? Where do I know him from? And at the end,
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, Godzilla. That's what he was in.
This must be like the two things that I've seen him in because I can't remember him anything else.
I think he's been in a TV show that I've seen, but I can't quite place which TV show it was off the top of my head.
Amy Sedaris, who was Deb, was in Chef as Jen, but for life of me, I can't place her in that.
I can't remember Chef too clearly, to be honest, but she's obviously the Favreau clan because she's in Mandalorian as well, which is her most famous role
Yeah.
to me, is being in Mando.
The Dinklage, who is Miles Finch, was in Knights of Badassdom as Hung. I forgot about his name.
And and this is the Hall of Fame because on the Dinklage rule, he only ever appeared in one thing,
Yep,
but
there you go on.
through significance to the 10-point podcast, he made it into the Hall of Fame. So at least he's got a second
Dinklage.
appearance. We might struggle to find a third Dinklage film that isn't X-Men to be like him worthy necessarily,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
that's
I
why
don't
the
know.
Dinklage rule exists. People can be important enough to get in without
we
appearing
can
3
do
times.
Ice Age.
Oh yeah.
Looks like a nice age.
The third one, he's the monkey captain.
Oh, yes. No, I've only seen that once. I'm not going back. James Caan as Walter Hobbs was in Santa's Sleigh as Darren Mason and Misery as Paul, so he's now eligible.
Oh,
He's eligible. I think we could maybe wait on him, maybe, because he'll probably come up in at least one or two things in my mind. He'll be on the podcast again in the future. So, but yeah, Hall of Fame eligible James Caan. I think I still count him as 10 Point Podcast favorite, and he might be the only one that's in 2 Christmas films
Yep.
that we've done. And Misery is also set in snow in the middle of
Yep.
nowhere as well. So
it's a
technically,
Christmas favorite, James Caan.
yeah.
It makes it Christmassy. Lastly, for me, I put Will Ferrell. Obviously, Will Ferrell. He's Buddy the Elf. Semi-pro is Jackie Moon, and Old School is Frank, so he's eligible now.
He's eligible as well, which I think,
I
yeah,
missed
he's.
something.
No, that's it. I only had the
No.
2 as well. It feels like this is at least the 4th time we've used for him. But no, Will Ferrell. But I think, yeah, to me certainly the Old School and Semi-Pro are like 2 of like my
Frank the Tank.
Will Ferrell
Frank
films.
the Tank.
Like Anchorman's more famous, Talladega Nights,
Right.
Blazes of Glory more famous. But the other 2 we've done are like
The
my
other
Will Ferrell
guys
films.
is what jumps out for me.
That as well. So I think Will Ferrell will eventually, if we do the podcast long enough, we'll get into the Hall of Fame. But I think
And
that's
we
him
can
on the
invite him
board.
because he turns up for anything.
He
especially if
does,
it's
yeah.
playing.
Just say Wrexham are involved, yeah, exactly. Have you recast any more, Chris? Because I didn't do any more than that.
No,
That was as
okay,
deep
I'm
as I
glad,
dug.
'cause
You recast
that's
us in 2 roles in the film.
I did, but I want to change it last second. So I put myself as Walter Hobbs because I'm not very Christmassy, despite the fact I've got a jumper on. This is just for shits and
You
giggles.
need to play the part, don't you, really, when it
Yeah.
comes to Christmas?
I don't really get in the Christmas mood until Christmas Eve. And then for the rest of the thing, I've got like a wee Christmas buzz on.
It's the alcohol kicked in.
That's different, yeah.
I also mind when I'm singing, so that's why. Bruce, because of your natural storytelling, I put you as Papa Elf.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
And Andy, purely for the rage, you're Miles Finch.
Yeah.
I
been
almost
set
put you as
off.
Walter Hobbs. I nearly put myself
Yeah.
as the manager of Gimbels because of his arguing, because that's literally me. And my kids just fucking back and forwards constantly. Yes, no, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. So that's how I wanted to do it, but it was too late.
So I went a different route. I've cast myself in the James Caan role, but mainly so that I could be like have this scene and be like, imagine me as James Caan and I'm working on a project with two other people.
I'll take it.
I think yes, I think Andy's KG and I think Chris is Andy Richter. I think when the scene was playing out, I was like, "Yep, that's us on the podcast." Yeah, so yes, that's my route. On to I didn't do the references of films and all. There's quite a lot actually. A lot to do with films that some of the characters in, like, there's a Godfather reference, there's a Back to the Future reference, as well as Will Ferrell references. But I didn't keep a list. So I've gone to my questions that I ask every single week. Could this film have come out in 1995? It definitely could have done. Nothing dates it in the 2000s. And it might actually have made the casting a bit better if you kept the same people in the same roles, because everybody would have been 8 years younger, and it would have that kind of adds up a bit better that way. So that was my cast. Chris is suffering from something over there.
I fall asleep.
Does this film reference The Wizard of Oz? It doesn't. It references other things, but The Wizard of Oz doesn't really ever come into it at all. But that's probably because it's very Christmassy. It's set in the big city. It's not set in the in middle of nowhere, or some of it is, I guess. But Dead Man Walking. Now I knew nobody was going to die, but Buddy does a lot of walking and should have ended up dead. So I've gone for Buddy was the dead man walking in this one. So this whole film might have been like, I don't know, he might have died on the way to New York and it's all in his
He could
head.
have killed them and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Who's in the wrong movie? Most of the characters, I would say, Jovi could be lifted straight out of the film and the film's not any different.
Yeah.
Michael, there's no need for him really in the film either. And he just confuses matters. Like, is it really a need for James Caan to have another younger son there? Like, really? No. Not really. So I think the two of them.
Caan's in the wrong film. It's somebody other than him.
Maybe, yeah. Mary Steenburgen, she's in the wrong film. They could have cast anybody. She has about 4 lines. She's barely in the bloody thing. So maybe that's why she was in Step Brothers as an apology. But yeah, they were the ones in the wrong films, half of them. Buddy the Elf's in the right film, and that's what matters, really.
Yep. Right.
And which trope would we like to see die? For me, it's Jovi just falls in love with him for no reason, which led me to find that this film not only fails the Bechdel test, which I'm sure you've heard of, which is if a film has 2 female characters, which it does, they have to have a conversation with each other, which they don't in this film. So it falls at step 2, and step 3, the conversation can't be about one of the male characters. And this film fails, as in no 2 females in this film talk to each other.
Yeah, she talks to Mary Steenburgen at the end when they're standing doing their singing. So
I suppose they do. Yes. Okay. A sentence then.
yeah. Have you seen Buddy kind of thing? Oh, well, they have ruined your other one because they talk about male characters. So
exactly, I was going to say it fails at step 3 if it doesn't fail at step 2. But yeah, it's a terrible Bechdel test film, this, because there's 3 characters that are women basically. Andy, what's your trope that you want to see die?
Christmas magic spirit, where everybody just sings it in Santa can think. I mean, it happens in 3 films.
I'm glad you carried on there because it was like Chris needs to die.
Chris needs to die.
Oh, there's a Christmas spirit. Let's be done with it. And Chris, what is your trope?
Behind you, the useless employees who come up with the idea of getting a third person come in to do the job, and then the boss is like, "I like that idea. Yes,
I like that idea. Yeah. The fake out of that's a great idea. The stupid thing you film with. Point 7. That one thing. What is the one thing about Elf that sets it apart? Chris, we'll start with you, not backwards. You screamed so loud you went quiet there, Chris.
I thought you farted.
Santa.
Oh, the Santa. Him getting excited about yelling about Santa. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, supersonic.
Andy, what's your one thing?
That costume behind Chris, like that.
the buddy the elf costume. Yeah, yeah.
It's just like because there's many elf costumes, but every time I think elf, my mind instantly just goes that costume. Like if you say an elf costume, that is what I see.
Yeah, I suppose it is. Yeah, the definitive elf costume. For me, I think this one goes down as the most recent classic Christmas movie. Like, I can't think of a Christmas movie since 2003 it's been made. It's like, absolutely, that goes on the list. That's getting seen every Christmas. And I think this is the last one. I don't think there's any better since then.
I can't think of any actual Christmas films.
Yeah, so I think it's
Spirited.
Yeah, I think this is the last
Yeah.
classic. Eventually one will get made, but yeah, this is now 20 years ago. Home Alone was a classic in about 5 years. This is taken probably about 20. Point 8, the nominations for the Netflix Podcast Awards. Chris, you nominate first, and we tell you where you're right and wrong.
Best actor, Will Ferrell.
Mm-hmm. He does
Uh,
play a 6-year-old really, really well in this film, yeah.
Personally, I put best supporting as Faison Love, but I am open to suggestions.
I went James Caan, because I think James Caan is very funny as a straight man. I don't know about you,
actually,
Andy.
yeah. I'm going James Caan.
Well, most underused is Faison Love as the Gimbels manager.
Yeah.
So I've gone for the ladies. I've gone for Zoe and Mary Steenburgen as underused.
No,
but
I like the
if you,
Gimbels guy.
fair enough. He is underused as well, so I'll accept it.
Biggest Belland, I put Walter Hobbs. It was going to be Walter Hobbs, but actually his boss is the biggest Belland, making everybody
It's
work
Miles Finch,
consistency.
surely. The phone call from Finch, the temperature must be exactly this. I will not show up in like that. Oh, Mr. Hobbs is an emergency. That's it. You've had a phone call. We're on the phone. I'm out of there. I'm not going to be making it. I think Miles Finch is the biggest Belland, like before being called an elf. But Andy, tiebreaker. Is it Walter? Is it Walter's boss?
Oh, no,
Miles Finch?
Walter's boss. Hobbs isn't that bad.
Aye.
What are you going for?
Walter's boss for making him come in on Christmas Eve
Yep.
and being. But then in his
Oh,
defense,
yeah.
he's like,
But then
I've
call his
flown in for
kid an
this.
idiot or something. Did he call his kid an idiot? No, he insulted his kid.
It was like,
And
but even
then-
it wasn't that bad. It was just
Yeah.
like you'll have to be quiet, or you'll have to just find them yourself, or it was something. It wasn't you're a stupid little shit or anything like that. It was quite reasonable, I thought. But I think he was a bell end, and I'll accept it. But he did fly in from wherever he was on Christmas Eve, and James Caan's like, "Nah, can we reschedule it for another time?" Or he could have just gone, "Here's my book. Have a look at what we've come up with." He's just like, "Nah, can we just reschedule?" It's like, it's Christmas, buddy. You have to fly back to wherever I'm from here. I thought he was within his rights to be like, "Sorry, young man, can you wait half an hour so your dad can tell us?" But I admit he is a big bell end. Sorry.
He's ranting next.
His character, technically, Buddy is quite stupid.
Technically,
Well,
it's Buddy, but I think it's
yeah.
harsh.
Aye. Best Animated Object is Etch a Sketch.
Right, okay.
I love Etch
Yeah.
a Sketches.
I thought maybe the sleigh might be best inanimate object, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Best Weapon, Snowball.
Okay. I skipped over that thinking, oh, there won't be
Literally
any
putting
weapons.
stuff in.
don't have
Best
to,
special
you know, there's no-
effects is
Yeah.
Arctic Critters.
Yeah.
Yeah, the best special effects.
I'm giving us
definitely.
options for the pointies.
He's just
You don't
gonna
have to
make
use them
Bruce's
all.
list,
It's just
you
more
think?
for me to do, yeah.
Ruining your
I've got-
Christmas, you bastard.
I do have a lot as well, in fairness. So,
Okay.
you could.
On the flip of the best weapon, the worst special effects is the snowball fight.
Yeah.
The last snowball is a bit funny. It's a wee bit weird. The last snowball.
Best set is the North Pole.
Yeah, definitely the North Pole is really. And again, they obviously had to build
stuff,
two
yeah.
of it, which is great. So.
We're probably going to talk about this one, but I put best cameo as Mark Walsh just being a creep to the Charlotte.
Yeah, I
user.
guess.
I'm just obsessed with her,
Favreau-
just talking.
I've got Favreau's best cameo. I think he's
see-
really funny as the Doctor.
See, you obviously kind of knew he was going to be in it because obviously he's directed it and he always puts himself in it. For me, it's Kyle Gass. I keep forgetting he's in it, and this would have been high
Right.
Tenacious D as well.
He's my
So
most
that- you're for that-
unexpected because I forgot
Yeah.
he's in it.
So I always remember this. To me, this is the other Kyle Gass film.
Right,
He's
see, I
in- he's
don't.
in this
I
one.
saw it-
So
I
I've
literally-
gone. I went Amy Sedaris for Unexpected. Oh my god, it's her from The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
When she's playing the. I think Favreau's a cameo. He's only got one scene.
He is a
He's much
cameo,
more famous
yeah.
in the role he's playing. So I think I'll take Favreau for cameo and step back from Danny John Jules, and you guys can debate that one.
Well, I've got Kyle Gass as Daniel Jules anyway, so I could put him in it.
We'll do that. Do it that way
Okay,
around.
I'm happy. I'm happy.
Best fight is Dinklage versus Ferrell.
Yep. Drop
I've
kick
got
out
Buddy
over
versus the fake Santa and Gimbels plus Wanda
bugger, I forgot
running. So
No, I always think of
It's that drop
Dinklage
kick.
running along the table.
It's
and
that
drop
little
kicking.
run in the drop kick gets
Okay.
every time.
that's fine.
Michael Pena Award, Papa Elf telling the story.
Definitely, yeah, definitely.
Who is also the best father figure, Papa Elf.
Yeah.
I never do best. I always just do the worst one, which I've got.
Yeah,
Walter
worst one
Hobbs
is Walter
the worst.
Hobbs, yeah.
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 definitely. For shunning his son for 12 years of his life for such a rubbish job.
Yeah.
Like he's not even the boss. Like he has a boss. He tells these two writers, write me some family stories, what you want to call it, about vegetables, and I just sign it and send it off. Like he's got a
I
terrible
could do
job.
that job, just literally
I
not
know.
looking and signing.
How does he have no home life? I don't get it.
Best line, cutting head and any muggins. I use that from this film now.
Now I've got a rich lineup here. Santa, oh my god, I know him. Did you hear that? Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color? Or does Santa know you've left the workshop? Which is just a great, like, perfect delivery and line. So I don't know what the best line.
I'm
Andy,
with
what's the
Chris.
best line?
Chris has
Cotton-headed
actually
meat.
used that
that-
in content when I've been around him, so I'm going with Chris.
Cotton-headed muggins.
I did. I cut head and any muggins. Best animal. I don't have anything for it, but it's got to be one of the critters.
Not now, Arctic Puffin. That's the best
Yeah.
animal, is when I'm shouting that on the way past, which is a little, that line is brilliant as well.
Worst cops? I put Central Park Police. Or the
I got them
Rangers.
as the best cops. I
I didn't catch them.
No, but
Useless.
they scorned it off.
They were
Safety.
cool.
Best costume is Buddy the Elves.
Yep.
Yeah.
Worst hair is Jovi's Zoe Deschanel because it's not black.
I've gone for best because I think she looks really good like that, and it's her only famous blonde performance, which makes it stand out as something special. You know, I think.
I'll accept because I don't have anybody for best hair, but I just
Kyle
Zoe
Gass.
Deschanel has has black hair.
Worst hair could be Buddy's, like
Yeah,
completely spherical perm.
I quite
Like
like the little curls poking at the side of his hat though.
Yeah, but no, I think Jovi's blonde hair is good. Right, are we having the 10 Point Podcast nomination awards now, or what's happening? I feel like Chris has hit everything in the film here.
No, I've got two more. Best product placement is I don't know. I thought it was Victoria's Secret. The thing
Was
that
that
the
actually-
negligee.
That wasn't
Well,
didn't
see, I
say
missed-
Victoria. No,
I
Oh,
missed that
I
as
was
being a
making stuff
product.
up. Okay,
Just
that's
making shit
fine.
up.
Never mind.
You don't have to make it up.
Best
Best
stunt
awesome.
was Will get hit by a car.
I
Or
guess. Yeah.
somebody get hit by a car.
Somebody
so
got
that's
that.
me done.
Right. Best character name, Jovi. Is she the only Jovi in history? I've never heard anyone
Jovi.
called that. Yeah, but that's his surname. And it's also
Sure,
Bon
that.
Jovi. She's just Jovi with an I, sorry, an E at the end.
I've heard of Jovi, but
I think she's the only Jovi. Was everyone makes it quite cool, quite a cool name. Best entrance after the date, he comes in, I'm in love, and spins around, and throws his hat against the wall. It's just a brilliant entrance into a room in the middle of an important meeting going on. Best food, pasta, syrup, and sweets.
no. But
Best Jimmy James Can. Best plan, sending Buddy to the mailroom. That job should have suited him
Yes.
perfectly.
Yes.
Like, I think that was a great idea.
Yeah.
And it probably still would have worked. There's no him dancing around because he got pished. Like, that's a one-off. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
if you sent him back then again, it wouldn't happen again. That was a good plan, I think. I'll come back to product placement. I think the score and the soundtracks are yes for both, but for me, Pennies from Heaven by, I didn't write down who sings it. Pennies from Heaven is the best song in this film, I think.
Yeah, I'll give you
And no
that.
one's arguing, so I'm getting it. I'm taking that as a victory. Best team, Santa's Elves.
Yeah.
I'll say best villain, the Central Park Rangers, but Chris has got to tell me I'm wrong, so don't go too far down that.
so fire away.
We've done that. Worst plan. I thought Buddy walking to New York was a bad plan, but he got there. But the publishing the book with the pages missing,
Yes.
dreadful.
Good job.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like 30 grand. I mean, you're a big business that that works in the Empire State Building. Take a 30 grand hit because you probably sell. It must be a big book company, so you'll sell enough to cover it. Best product placement, Andy.
Right. Is Gimbels a real place or was that just made up?
It was.
I think it's made up.
All right.
No, it used to be. It used to be
fair enough.
Macy's rival, but they shut down at like
Because I'm pretty
86
sure
or
I've heard of Gimbels, not just in this film. So I would say that because obviously it's everywhere. However, Etch-a-Sketch.
Yep, I had Etch-a-Sketch.
Yep.
I had Etch-a-Sketch. So definitely.
Because I'm
that
pretty
wins.
sure Etch-a-Sketch is a brand. Like it's like a jet ski is a brand. It's not the Etch-a-Sketch.
Yeah. It's not. It is what it is, but also it's
Yes.
a brand name.
Yes.
You would find it in a pound shop called Etch-a-Sketch. It'd be
Exactly.
called Picture a Sketch or something. Okay, that's us. No more nominations, otherwise we'll be here till next week. Moral of the story is point 9. What is the moral of the story? I've just got something Christmas spirit is the moral of the story. Chris, what's your moral of the story?
best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear.
Ah, very good. And Andy, what's yours?
Santa's real.
Santa's real.
Santa's real.
Point 10. 10-point rating where we rate the film out of 10 points. I've gone reverse alphabetical order on the Pick of Destiny. So Chris goes first, Andy's at the end. So Chris, you're
I
first.
hate going first because it means I've got to set the bar.
You go first the least because your name
I
comes
know.
last alphabetically, so I've flipped you for this
Unless
last one.
it's a film that I've picked. So I'll give that a 7. Like, you can't get more Christmassy than elves and Santa, and the best parts of Will Ferrell like going off script and just being him. It stops being funny when it gets to Central Park though.
Yeah.
But it's for me, it's a Christmas classic now, and I've got no issues watching it every year, multiple times this period. So it's 7.
I echo everything Chris said, including the score, basically. It's a 7. I had it as an 8 on my previous ranking, but I didn't enjoy it as much this time. But for me, it's the funny lines and the way he delivers them that have, like, I don't know, have the staying power, and they're still
This is
funny.
one of the best Will Ferrell films. He's got a lot of shit out there.
It has less bad in it than some of his other films. Like, it has a real peaks and troughs. This one's kind of, it peaks, but it kind of levels out because it's all just about Christmas. But yeah, 7 out of 10 for me. It's probably one of the best Christmas films. Probably not the best, but one of the best. Andy, what about you?
Straffing boys. I'm agreeing with everything that Chris said. 7.
Oh, sweet. I was waiting for it to be like a 10 or
No.
I was sure it was going to be like,
I
this should be a 7, but I've seen it so many times it's a 1.
Well, I've seen it a lot of times, but I don't understand why it still keeps its score. It does. I don't understand it. It's just the Christmas magic, I think.
You're a sucker for Christmas.
Watching it once every 24 months helps for me. Like, for a while, it was every year I watched this, and now that I've wound it down a bit, it's like, okay, I quite enjoy it a bit more. A solid actual. My seat's gone down. I don't know if you can see that there. That's me dropping down slightly. 7 across the board. A 7. That means it will not crack the 10-point podcast top 10 of all time, because I've collated that.
No.
But it's in the upper regions. I'm very low down here now. What theme did the Pick of Destiny pick for us this entire year? I just keep getting lower. I'm going to disappear off the end. I'm like an elf now. Tenacious D in the Pick of Destiny, Saw, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1998's Godzilla, and then Elf was the last one that that was picked by us picking.
Massacres.
Massacres. I've got to fix it.
I think actually.
I'm going to say Massacres. That's my pick.
I was going to say New York.
No.
But Pick of Destiny isn't New York. I don't know where Saw takes place.
It's not quite Kyle Gass either.
Oh, he was in the front. Why?
He was in 2 of the 5 of them.
Green.
The color green. Godzilla's green. Elf is green. Tenacious D. The pick is green.
Pick is green.
Saw. Red. And the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Saw.
But also there's green in Texas, because out in the middle of nowhere it's kind of green.
And Saw is that kind of green room.
It's kind of greenish, yeah. It's a shame the Doctor wasn't wearing a green shirt.
Yeah. Almost
there we go. The color green. For there we go. Yeah, it's no theme. We picked them because we had to. How do we like the Pick of Destiny as a format? I quite like it. This
works. I think it's got legs. It's better than the Wheel of Random.
I think it's better than random. I like us having an idea of what suits. So let us know in the comments or via social media if you disagree. Or
pay us a bunch of money, you can get your own film featured.
You can pick, yes, exactly. Next time on the 10 Point Podcast is the Season 8 Pointy Awards that will come early in 2024 once I have finished collating all of the information that Chris has given me hours worth to troll through now.
I mean, Chris will be pitched.
Yes, and I will be most of the way towards that and probably end up.
It's time of the year and it's like the 1st of January.
We should do a New Year's spectacular, like right over.
I would, but I think I'm being dragged to a house party.
You're dragged to a house?
We're still recording, Chris, so don't go away too many
There's evidence of this
now. Season 9 will follow not long after. We will announce the start of Season 9 during the 10 Point Podcast Awards. So have a look at all your feeds that will appear after this episode will be the Pointies, and then Season 9 will follow on after. Season 9, another one that feels like it was epic. Do you know what the first episode was of Season 9?
No, because we've not done it yet.
Season 8 sorry, of this season we've just finished. The Big Lebowski was Chris's first pick. That was the first film we did, and that feels like that was the summer. Obviously,
it was last season. I'm getting everything. It's been like so long.
Yeah,
or feels like it's been so long. But
as long as we run our 5-month cycles of each season. So yes, we've got so much to think back on. Remember all those films before Halloween, all that sort of stuff. And that's season 8 in the books. A good one, I think. Not our best, because we had some that were seasons where everyone was giving 10s willy-nilly. This one was above average, I think. Any final comments, lads?
Season 9, baby.
I had a theme sorted out, but I've decided to change it.
My theme
going-
is
I've not
epic.
seen anything.
Season 9's theme is better, bigger, badder.
I'm going with a theme, but if you guys pick films that I've picked, I am scraping barrel bottoms to fill out where they would have been. So it's going to be a tightrope for me. Anyway, that's next season. We'll all see you in a matter of weeks, early 2024 for the Pointies, for the 10 Point Podcast Season 8 Pointy Awards.